Hello. So today I'm going to talk about how you get a smaller conversion cost for your meta ads, how to reduce the cost to something like 5 cents or 10 cents. That's something I've been able to achieve consistently with my ads. And a lot of people ask me, how the hell do you get such a cheap ad? So in this video, I'm going to explain how I do it. It doesn't mean you have to do it this way because there's going to be a few controversial things I'm about to say. This is really just about getting the cheapest, lowest conversion cost possible. So the first thing you really need to do is to make sure that the song that you release is very well produced. It sounds top notch. It sounds top quality. And the reason for the lower conversion costs is if someone hears a song, it's so compelling, it's so nice, it's so good, they're going to want to click on the ad and check the song out. If the song is average or just weak, people are less likely to want to click on the ad. So I know it's kind of obvious, but it's really the most important thing if you want to keep the cost of conversion low. And I found with my songs, the better songs tend to perform better just generally, and the weaker songs perform worse. So the market really does a good job of working out what a strong track is. Now, if you're a new producer, you've just started out, or a new singer or anything like that, it is very likely that your song isn't going to be that great, but I could be proven wrong, and there are some people that just kill it on their first song. As a caveat to that, one thing I've noticed is that cover songs tend to do better than original songs. And that's kind of obvious because they are familiar to people. So if you're doing a cover and you're targeting the person who did the original for that cover, say it's an Adele song, for example, and you're doing a cover of Adele and you're targeting Adele in your ad, then it is very highly likely they're going to be curious to hear the song, whether they like the song or not. So that means they're more likely to click, and therefore that will reduce the conversion cost. Now, a lot of artists I know don't like doing covers and want to just do their own original music, and that's absolutely fine. But I think that's going to make it a little bit harder to get the conversion cost down because there isn't that familiarity with it. The other thing I've noticed with my own songs in general is that the faster, more upbeat songs tend to perform better than the slower tracks. And I think the reason for that is something I call the trust factor. People really need to trust you before they're willing to listen to variations of your catalog. And that means the slower tracks, the weirder tracks, the more unusual tracks. If you are a pop artist and you're doing house music or anything like that, something more upbeat is going to do better than something more downbeat. But obviously, if you're an artist that does mostly ballads and that's your thing, then I do think it will be harder to get a lower conversion cost, but it's worth sticking to that style and genre because you build a more loyal audience eventually. Now, the other thing that's really, really important is what you show in the ad, whether that's a video or whether that's artwork. I tend to just show artwork in the ad. And the reason for that is because my videos just don't work. I have tried videos and they don't really outperform my artwork, but that could be different depending on what sort of person you are. Faces tend to do better. If you put a face on your artwork and it's an attractive face, people are just more likely to click on it. So if you have artwork that doesn't include a face, that might include scenery or something like that, I've noticed people are less likely to click on it. Obviously, that depends on your brand and type of music you do. So for example, if you do calming, relaxing music, it might be better to show a waterfall than it is to show a sexy woman's face. Now, the other thing about faces is even though they perform better, they don't have to be your face. So don't worry if you don't have the greatest looking face. And that leads me to my next bullet point is the more beautiful, the better. It's just a fact of life that beauty tends to attract people. So if you don't have the best looking face, it doesn't have to be your face that's on the cover. It doesn't have to be a full picture of your face. But obviously that depends a lot on you and what you want to do and how you want to build your brand. If your brand is completely centered around your face, your image, then it is just better to show your face and your image, but that will increase the conversion cost, unfortunately. But the people that do click on your song and do actually take a chance to listen to you will probably be more loyal in the end. And lastly, the artwork just has to fit the song. So for example, if you're doing slap house, you want to show like a Lamborghini or something cool like that. Or if you're doing relaxing music, you want to show like waterfalls or forests or something like that. What you don't want to do is really have this mismatch between style and audience. So the other thing is video is better than artwork generally, but only if the video includes good looking or magnetic people with lots of charisma. Otherwise, just use artwork. If you have really no charisma, you don't look great, you're an average looking person, I just think unless you're trying to build a brand around yourself and your image, I don't think there's really a lot of reason to show a video. So the other thing is just to create ad sets for the verses or choruses and just test to see which performs better. Because you might think the verse is better than the chorus, but the audience might think the chorus is better than the verse, and that will be reflected in your conversion cost. So just test the different parts of the songs and then eventually just select the one with the lowest conversion cost. When you're targeting countries, it is always better to target tier 1 countries mostly, because ultimately when you do get paid for your royalties, the tier 1 countries are the ones worth getting paid for. before. I've had a song with 300,000 streams with mostly tier 2 or tier 3 countries. That got paid pretty much the same as a song with 100,000 streams with tier 1 countries. The numbers aren't really that important. It's the quality of the countries that are really important. However, you do want to add countries like Brazil and Mexico because they are definitely cheaper. They will bring your numbers up, but they won't be so bad in terms of payout. And you definitely don't want to target countries where the accounts are likely to be free, such as Peru, Colombia, Turkey, Egypt, India. These are just some examples of where Spotify accounts are tending to be free. And it's not just that you're going to get less money on those accounts. It's that when they do click on your ad and therefore reduce your conversion costs, they might not even be listening to your song because it's a free account. They might be listening to someone else's song. So that's kind of a red flag. Lastly, when you're targeting specific similar singers, that's very important to target someone who sounds like you as a singer or a producer, but you also want to target genres because genres have bigger audiences. So for example, if you're targeting, say, Adele has like 50 million fans, but her genre might be indie pop, and indie pop might have 300,000 fans. You don't want to restrict yourself too much to just some singers. You want to also include the genres to have a wider, bigger audience, and that will eventually allow the conversion cost to go down because Facebook has more people to play with and it can target the audience better.